Welcome to Soulful Conversations with Nadjejda. I'm Nadjejda Chapoteau. I'm an empowerment and confidence coach, spiritual teacher, and speaker. I'm passionate about dance, social justice, spiritual growth, love, nature, and making a difference. Specifically, I really am passionate about making a difference, empowering women and children in my homeland, Haiti, and also empowering women entrepreneurs and women around the world and really reconnecting with themselves, embracing their authentic self and sharing themselves through their message boldly with the world. Because I'm a firm believer that's how we make a bigger impact on the world. As a coach, I help women entrepreneurs experience more ease, clarity, confidence, and fun in their businesses by discovering their message and finding their niche. I am so excited to have my guest today, Alison Sherwood. She was a top makeup artist in the film industry, working with A-list celebrities for 27 years. Known for her soothing voice and energy, which I can tell. 'Cause, it's true. When I was reading your bio, I was like, it's so true. Her energy. She was an artist, calming, nervous artist, and diffusing tensions on set. Already a naturally gifted intuitive, she went back to school to become a certified master transformational and health coach. Her experience, vision, and connection to source creates the foundation of the intuitive alignment method. I love that. Thank you for joining me today, Alison.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Great, great. Now, Alison and I were talking before, and she is very big on shadow work, and she is a firm believer that through our shadows we get to find out our powerful parts. Is it like powerful tools, or our superpowers? That's what it is.
Yes.
And so, tell me, Alison, for you, like, did you always feel this way? How did you get to this part, to know this in your own life and business?
Yeah, well, no, I didn't at all, because there was so much, like everybody, parts of myself that I had shoved down, fears. It's really everything that we reject. So anger, jealousy, comparing myself, even joy. Like there's some things, if for instance, we work with a lot of women who, when they were small, they couldn't laugh or feel joy because that wasn't allowed in the family. So they shoved that down. They shoved that part of themselves down as well. So for myself, no, I didn't understand it for years. I would find myself jealous of other people's lives and making up stories to make them wrong, until I started to realize that that simply was a shadow, and that once I could see the gift that it had for me and what it actually was showing me, it was quite amazing. I was able to turn it around, to integrate it, because it's about being whole. I think that's what everybody really wants, is just that feeling of wholeness.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So tell me now, for you, when did you begin this whole journey of like looking into your shadow? Because I know many of us like really avoid it.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Well, I guess it really started when I went back to school and I started coaching women on body love, because I realized that not accepting yourself is shadow work. Again, it's shoving down. It's shoving down everything that we don't love about ourselves with our body. But then once I added healing into it, and then I met my business partner, and we just, I don't know, I think we were talking just about transformational coaching and taking it one step deeper. And we started talking about what stuff down. And then we started researching Carl Jung, and it was just like, we love this. So, it does sound scary, because I think people are afraid that by bringing up their shadow, they're going to bring up all this darkness and they will never get out of it. But it's the opposite, because once we actually look into it and you don't try to hide parts of yourself, it's true freedom. It's like, this is me. And often what we fear, the fear is much bigger than the actual issue. you know, so it's amazing work. I'm just really grateful that, you know, that it's out there and that we're able to bring this to help so many women.
Mm-hmm. So let's just be, because you know what, I mean, you and I get it, and I'm sure I'm sure there are people in our audience who understand the word shadow when we talk about our shadow side. We each
Yeah.
have a light and shadow side, but do you want to explain for people who may not be familiar with that term, what is it really?
Absolutely. So the shadow, basically, we come into the world as this little self who is free, who is accepting, who's just this little tiny self.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden we start getting imprinted with what's not acceptable. So if we throw a fit, we're told we're a brat. So we shove that part down. I'm a horrible person. I'm a brat. So I have to hide that. That's wrong. That's dark. I'm going to just put it down, stuff it down. If you are really wanting a lot, you want a great life, you're told you're greedy. So you shove that down. I'm greedy. So it's not okay for me to want things. That's dark. So
Mm-hmm.
you go through life feeling guilty about wanting to make money or wanting to be successful. You know, it can show up with relationships. And what's interesting is so basically what shadow is it's everything that we've rejected about
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. Everything that we find wrong that's not accepted by society, we shove down. So we live with all of this stuff repressed in our subconscious. Meanwhile, we're wearing this mask of how we feel we can fit in with society. So I'm a nice person. I never get angry. Like, oh, I just help everybody. When inside you're like, I don't want to help everybody, you know, or, you know, do I have to be nice all the time? So this is what breeds perfectionism and comparing yourself to others and feeling like you don't fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why most people are always looking for external validation of like me. Am I enough? Am I good enough? Am I a good person? Approve of me. Because we've shoved down so much of who we are, you know, that we're not able to show up as our authentic self. Does that make sense?
It does. It really does.
Okay.
No, it totally does. And as you were saying, it's like it's true because I think in a way, even as us entrepreneurs, sorry, I don't know if you even went through that phase, went through that where sometimes we were like, okay, wait a minute. Even for me, just recently, you know, because I think I don't know, I'm always doing inner work. I'm
Right.
always like, you know, peeling layers. Especially, I think right now. I mean, I don't know if it's been your experience, but I know many of us are going through it. Like I think on a global and
Mm,
individual, you know, level, we're all like really go you know being pushed to change or we're doing it on our own where it's like peeling the more layers. And
yeah.
recently I was actually saying, although I've never had an, you know, I've always been like, okay, yeah, I'm being true to myself, this is who I want to work with. And then but then I'm realizing as I'm growing, I'm also like, wait a minute, no, I don't want to work with this type of, these are the people that I really want to work with and have no shame
Mm,
around it. These are the people I want to collaborate with, you know?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's, and it's like, yeah, it's so true. Like for me, it's like, cause you know, I'm very much from, not that I don't have my strong views, which I do, but I'm very much coming from a understanding, compassionate view. And sometimes there are people who are more rough or something. And I've come to realize that in some way for me, it's not a good match for me.
Mm,
And I'm owning it. And I'm like, okay, you know what? It's totally fine if I don't want to collaborate with someone who's like that. I mean, I wish them the best and everything. It's not like I'm like, but it's just that I can choose that I don't want to collaborate with that. I can choose that I want my clients to be light, to want to really to experience being light and not be like, you know, forceful or something, you know? And I
right.
was just like, this is who I am, and these are the people I vibe with. And I think that in a way, even in my own spiritual journey and what I've learned, I think that sometimes I kind of got the impression that in order to be love and light, or in order to be, you know, spiritual and loving, then it's sort of like you can, I always say that I do my best to like love and appreciate everyone, but I don't have to hang out with everyone,
Exactly. Well, that's one of the biggest things I think people have to pay attention to. And I'm super spiritual. I'm super woo, and I love all the spiritual communities. However, it is impossible to always be in love and light because we're human.
Of course.
And I think that starts to cause a lot of guilt with people, and then they feel like they're bad people because I'm supposed to be just love and light all the time. But a great way to know where shadow lives is looking at the people around you, because we project, so what we're trying to hide, what we don't want, if it keeps showing up, it's because that's a shadow piece of ourself. And that is the biggest, what's the word I want to use? Like Easter egg hunt. That's finding the Easter eggs, is going, okay, that person triggered me. Ooh, that must be a shadow part. And with good too, like if Oprah inspires you and part of you is a little jealous, but part of you is like, wow, that's because that shadow is in there as well. So I think people think shadow's just dark, but it's very much light as well,
Totally. So would you say, for example, when somebody, like, let's say you're like, okay, I don't know, or I'm like, I don't know, this person triggered something in me, okay? So like you said, it's a part of me, right? Mm-hmm. And I agree. So then now it's my responsibility, I have the choice to choose to heal that side of me, or to actually, could it be a side of me that I want to bring out more of? Or could it even be a side of me that I don't like, but I have in me, and then I need to heal it?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's part of what the superpower is. We have a workshop on that, because, so for instance, if I see a woman who's really bitchy, I don't know if that's okay to say on here, but
yeah. It's fine. Actually, I have to tell you, just so just quickly, I hope you won't lose your train of thought. On my, I don't know if I didn't see anywhere on YouTube, but on Apple Podcast, I had to, and I felt uncomfortable, but now I'm like, okay, whatever. Because like recently I was talking to somebody and she said something and you just said something. But I had one episode, which was awesome. She's so great. She's actually a spiritual teacher, but she says like she has a sailor's mouth. So when I was putting her episode, I had to put explicit. And let me tell you, do you know that you can't just put one episode as explicit? So all of my content shows as explicit. Because I was like, wait a minute, why can't I do that? Yeah. So I have to say, for a moment, I kind of felt like, I don't know. I don't want people to think that Nadjejda or just like constantly, even though for me, I think what you said, there's nothing wrong. And even some of what you said, but it's just that, so when I went and I was like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me I can't just put an episode as explicit? So every single one, like, so it basically shows like, it's sort of like in some way you're just letting people know that your content can be explicit or not. Right. But you can't just, yeah, but anyway, go ahead.
So funny. Oh my God, I love it. Well, I would rather.
So don't worry, go ahead.
I love it. Let your hair down.
Let your hair down, yes.
No, well, what I was going to say is, so for instance, if you see someone who triggers you because they're bitchy and they're like, oh, then you go, wow, I must have that in me. So then we dig up and we see, yeah, actually, I have repressed that. But where has that helped me? Where could being bitchy help me? Where it could help me if I'm in line and someone pushes me out and I stand up for myself. So it's not as much releasing or getting rid of the shadow. It's integrating it, acknowledging it, kind of thanking it, and then you're not triggered anymore because you've owned that part of you. But if you don't own, just even people, I was reading when I was doing research on this, they were talking about a man who, an example is a man who's married, has a lovely wife, and they have a perfect family, and he fantasizes about having affairs, and that to him is a shadow. But when he brought it up and just brought light to it and realized it was just a fantasy and it wasn't bad, it wasn't running his life anymore because he wasn't overwhelmed with guilt. So it's just releasing it. It's just like almost releasing the valve on it so that you can integrate it and say, I embrace all of parts of me, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So let me ask you, so would you say every time something triggers you, okay, actually, let me use that term, because since you just mentioned something, I just thought of something, and I don't know if maybe somebody in the, somebody listening to this and watching us might have the same question. So I thought that's why I was like, let me ask. Because I always say we're not the only, if you have a question or you're going through something else, somebody's going through something similar or others. So what would you say is the difference between something that triggers you and something that just doesn't resonate with you?
Well, if it doesn't resonate with you, I don't think you hold on to it. You just say, this doesn't resonate with me, so you just move on. But if something triggers you, for instance, a quick story, I was in the grocery store and I dropped maple syrup and it broke and it went all in my shoes. I was wearing flip-flops and it was gross. And the glass everywhere.
Yeah.
Not one person stopped to say, can I help you? Do you need help? Not one person. Even a man walked by me and I stood there and my daughter was with me, but she was gone at the moment. And I was getting madder and madder and madder. And I was thinking, these people are assholes. I help everybody. And then I started to spat off like, why do people ignore people? And so my daughter came and she got the helper and I drove home saying, I would never do that. What is wrong? And then I was talking to my business partner about it. And she goes, well, why is it bothering you so much? Why do those people trigger you so much? And she said, has there ever been a time when you have not helped someone or you have walked away? And I went, yeah. And I went, and that made me feel bad because my story is I help everybody. So by bringing that up and seeing that I'm not perfect and I do have this side, I could let it go instead of being triggered by that. And what's really strange about that is the next day I went out with my husband and people could not have been nicer. Like we were just looking, like this random person was like, can I take a picture of you too? You look so cute. You want to capture this moment? And I went, wow, I released that. So now I'm not bringing that on anymore, you know?
Yeah, totally. So let me ask you, what would you say to somebody who's like listening to us now and who says, okay, so how would they go about figuring out what are some of their shadows? Would it be really paying attention to things that are triggering them? Would that be a way?
Absolutely. I mean, just anytime someone triggers you or anytime you hear a word, like if you hear cheap and you're like, oh, or my husband, it's frugal. He hates that word, but just pay attention to it. And I like to feel into my body and where am I holding it in my body and what have I made? If I was to see myself as that, what would that mean about me? What power is it holding over me? Am I a bad person because I might be cheap? So you bring it up and then you look for how has this protected me?
Yeah, definitely. Because they do protect us. That's why we hold on to them.
Yes. Oh, they're, and that's the thing. I think these feelings, these emotions, these stories, these shadow parts never get acknowledged and they never get thanked for the amazing job they've done to keep us protected, to keep us surrounded by love and feel like we belong, So when we can start to integrate it, thank it, it really is. It's like, like you lost 30 pounds, I mean, it's a really good feeling. So I look for what triggers me, to be honest,
Okay. So what would you say for you, if you could share, what has been one major thing, if you don't mind sharing for you, that you've gotten out of doing shadow work?
Well, for me, when I was young, I wasn't really allowed to be angry. I shoved it down because, my mom was sick a lot and we didn't want drama in the house. So I would hold it in, hold it in, hold it in until I would just blow. And then I would cause a scene and just do something dramatic, and then feel ashamed and shove it in, shove it in, shove it in. So I was really afraid of anger because I didn't know what I would do if I allowed myself to really be angry. It scared me. It really did. So I started to look at how has anger protected me? How is shoving it down? What did this help me with? And I realized that it helped me kind of check out. It helped me not feel, because feeling was too scary for me at that time, So the superpower that shoving all that down was it allowed me to kind of be numb and protect myself. And so by going in and looking at anger and saying, anger, thank you for just being in there, but not showing yourself up all the time. Now I can get angry and it doesn't matter. I just get angry, but I don't lose it. I don't hurt anybody. It just comes, and anger is so useful now because it's just an emotion. It's a message, like something doesn't feel good. So anger is one of my best powers, really, because it just shows me, that something's not going right. And there's another one I was just going to share really fast, because being irresponsible. Yeah. When I was young, my dad used to tell me, you're so irresponsible, because when I was 18, I got every charge card known to man, and I just charged everything up. It's like a game to me. And I was thinking about this when I went to visit them a couple months ago, because he was saying about being an entrepreneur. Well, you always have been a little irresponsible. And I thought, first of all, it didn't trigger me, which was good.
Yeah.
But I thought, how has irresponsibility been a superpower? And I'll tell you how. At 24 years old, I sold everything and moved to England because I was fearless, and people saw that as irresponsible. It's allowed me to be an entrepreneur and do programs. It's allowed me to do things that really are probably terrifying to other people. So I thank God I'm irresponsible.
I love that. Wow. What you just shared is, I love it. And I have to say, I almost got like goosebumps in a way, because it is so true. And in some way, it's not that I didn't get what you were saying when you said superpower, but that one really, really resonated with me, because it is very true. Yeah. Actually, I remember, I don't know if it was, I think it was B school. Were you in B school too?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it would have been B school. I don't know if it was my first round of doing it, or because I think I did it one time, the whole thing, and then the second time I did it, and I was like, I didn't was like kind of stop. You know how you get lifetime access to it. And one of the times, I don't know if you recall, you had to reach out to people, and I've done that over and over again throughout my entrepreneurial journey, and ask them, what do they think are like 3 qualities for you to do that? I remember one of my girlfriends says to me, one of my things was that I'm a risk taker. And I wasn't sure for me if that was a quality. Because some people can see it as a quality, some people can see it as being irresponsible. You know what I mean? So exactly what you're saying, I could resonate with that, because I have taken so many risks that some people will call irresponsible, through investing in myself, through leaving my job and starting my own business, through, I left, I was working at this place in 2010, and I was going to be laid off either way, but I wasn't laid off yet. I didn't have a job. I moved to DC with no job. So just to say that, I think what some people will call it, but that's what has made us where we are. That's what has made us entrepreneurs, because we are, so I guess what your dad called it, responsible. Some people will call it being brave and being a risk taker,
It's a reframe is what it is. And same with independent. Women are told when we're independent, that can be taken as you're bitchy, or you don't need anybody, you're arrogant.
Oh, yes. Oh, wow. I love it. It's so true.
Yeah. But being independent is a superpower. It is, you know, I mean, it serves us so, we need that. So everything can, and yeah, I don't know if I explained the anger part right, but definitely it's what we think is wrong. If we just simply reframe it and look at where it serves us, we're able to integrate it, you know.
Well, you know what? One thing I have to say, well, I'm going to say something political.
Go for it.
But just to say, I mean, I don't know what anyway, even you gonna feel about this, but like, I know for me, I was a big supporter of Bernie Sanders. Mm-hmm. And when, I don't know if you recall, because you're in California, and I'm going to talk about your state. Well, I mean, not about your state, but basically it was your primary.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he was losing, but California was huge, and we really were expecting him to win California. Yeah. So I'm one that is, and, you know, my audience already knows, I've said it in my intro that, you know, I can be political, because I also think.
Yes. Yes, me too.
So I was actually, you know, I think at that weekend I had called California. So I was, you know, making calls from Miami, calling voters in California. And when I don't know if you remember, I think it was the night before the primary, they decided that Hillary had the numbers. Yeah. So in some way, it's kind of like it made something with the election, you know. So right. I was angry. I was so angry. Yeah. But then I decided, and then I said, okay, you know what? You can go on social media and bitch about it and like rant. Right. Or you can actually pick up the phone, like get on the, you know, they had these dialing things. Get on the dial, whatever it was called, and start calling voters in California to tell them to make sure they go vote. Are they supporting Bernie, whatever? And you know what? That's exactly what I did. Oh, so for me, I realized, and I struggle with anger. I don't know if it's because, you know, I think also I grew up where my dad screams, even when he's talking normally, and I don't know, there's just this thing with me and anger that I don't, it's like even now, like you see the angry thing on Facebook, I never use it. Wow. I don't like seeing it. I'm still dealing with it.
Yeah. So yes. Yeah. So that's a shout out. That's a shout out.
I'll use sadness over being angry. You know? But so the thing is, but what I realized is that I had to, and I remember I even did coaching. I was angry. I had a relationship coach, and he said to me, so Nadjejda, like he realized how I wasn't comfortable with anger. And he's like, what do you think anger means? Like, you know, so I had some work to, I'm still working through it. But what I was saying is that I was angry, and what I did was I chose to, okay, I'm angry, I'm upset. But then I chose to turn it into a positive, because what I did was I took action. You know, I made those calls, and I actually did a video live on Facebook where I actually talked to people about how we can be angry, which is a normal emotion, but don't stay there because you want to turn your anger into inspired and positive action.
Absolutely. Well, there's a reframe right there, because that's where anger is a superpower. If you use it, it can change people's lives by saying, because anger usually is, I feel out of control, you know, which underneath that is fear. So what a beautiful turnaround where you can say, you know, I'm using this anger and I'm going to take action. Then anger is not in the driver's seat anymore, you know? Right. Yeah. So that is a way of getting it out. I mean, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people would just sit around and go post on Facebook or something, you know, or try to make others wrong. You know, I get so frustrated with all this stuff going on, just the endless post on Facebook that who cares? You know, just do something.
I know, and that's the thing. Sometimes I have to tell you, and I'm like, I have to like say, calm down. I feel like you're going and saying, can you all just like stop? What are you doing? Because you know what it is? I know people personally that all they do is rant on Facebook. They're not picking up calls. Yeah. They're not. The other day, I had a friend of mine. I shared something about one of my representatives. He's Republican, and I mean, if you're Republican, nothing against you, but it's just.
I'm not. I'm Democrat.
No. I'm in my audience. I know where you stand because I see your Facebook post, but I know where you stand. But I'm just saying for you, I mean, because I may have some listeners who are Republicans, you know, and I don't have this whole thing where, oh, you're Republican. No, that's not my thing. I respect everybody. But this, you know, my rep, he's doing stuff. He's against DACA. Like he's doing, and I picked up the phone. I shared something that I got from, I don't know if it was Organizing for Action or Our Revolution. And I called his office and I shared something on Facebook, and one of my friends, I love her and everything, but she's one who's not doing that. Like, so she was like, she liked it, she shared it, and she said, oh, and then she said, this is horrible. And I said, yes, it is. I called him today. And she goes to me, good job. And I'm thinking, you know what? I don't know if you saw that little clip by Maxine Waters, where she said that people, you know, people like her, people are coming to her and telling her, oh, go. And she says, don't tell me go. You need to go too. Yes. So, and that's how I felt with my friend. I love her dearly, but I was like, you know, stop telling me good job, because I need you to pick up the phones too. Yeah.
Yeah, people are, you know, they're afraid to get involved, I guess. I don't know what it is, but yeah.
I don't know if it's fear. I actually think that sometimes, I mean, I'm sorry to say that, and that's going to sound really bad. I think people are lazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be a big term, but because, you know what it is? If I can pick up the phone in less than 5 minutes, I call my rep.
Right.
To do something. Why is it? I mean, are you busier than me? Or what, you know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it might be a big term, but it's just that for me, what I've noticed is that some people don't even vote, even though, I mean, I have a whole thing around that, but I'm just saying, some people won't take any action. They'll just be ranting on social media.
Well, and I guess that's where I get frustrated. If you're going to complain, then you need to do something, or at least vote, you know, because if you don't vote or take action, you know, it's just that it doesn't do enough to just post on social media. It doesn't, you know, maybe it wakes people up, but, you know, so all of it. But, you know, I think, you know, it'd be interesting to look at going into the shadow, like what triggers us about that.
Totally, I know. Actually, I was saying, I'm sure somebody like, oh, Nadjejda said we're lazy. She's not loving life.
No, well, like I said, it's good to, you know, to honor both, right?
I know. Well, you know, actually, that is one thing. I also think that being love and light does not mean that, you know, you're a saint, or it doesn't mean that you're not going to speak your truth. And I think that's where some people do see as love and light is supposed to be all, you know, like, I don't know.
Right.
You know, not because really, I mean, I don't know, but then I think you start being a doormat.
Well, yeah, it's like any, I don't want to like cross boundaries, but it's like any, like sometimes even in in religion and anything where there's strict rules of this is how you're supposed to feel, this is how you're supposed to show up, it takes the human side out of it, because we have a range of emotions, we have a range of feelings, and if we could just be allowed to feel it without a label being put on it, like, you know, someone who is a prude has crazy fantasies and then feels guilty about it. Why? You know what I mean? So that's where I think the less we label things and make it good or bad or dark or light and just, you know what I mean? And I love the spiritual community. I do. I'm part of it, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't like it when people make others wrong.
Totally.
You know, so because there is, to me, everyone, I really do believe everyone's doing the best they can. It depends on what imprints you have. It depends on how much you've stuffed down, but we all, I dare say, are doing the best we can do with what we're equipped to do, you know, I mean.
Yeah, totally.
You know,
and you know what, actually, I just wanted to say, I mean, I was thinking about it. maybe they're not lazy. I just thought about something. I really think that people don't realize the power that they have.
Yes. Well, yeah, a lot of people like, what
how powerful we are.
Yeah, a lot of people like, well, what would it matter? One call, what would it matter? I'm just one person. Like in California, we are Democrat for the most of the state. So I know it wasn't this time, it was when Obama was running. And they're like, oh, I can't get to the polls. What does it matter though? It's like, you know, he'll win and that's awesome. So, and I'm like, it matters because number one, that's not the only thing you're voting for, but also it matters because you're taking that action step. You're doing something. You are a part of something bigger, you know? So it is realizing that you do matter. You freaking matter. You matter, you know, your voice matters, your actions matter, you know?
Yeah. No, it's true. And I mean, just wanted to say that before I move on into another question, because then people will be like, what's this? No, I just wanted to share how, and you know, that was my experience. I used to live I lived in Maryland first with a friend when I moved, and then I moved to DC. Well, my friend in Maryland, I remember, it was not it was 2010, so it was the midterm elections. And I was like canvassing, I was calling, and I said, you know, she was like, oh, these people keep calling and calling. We're a blue state. This is Maryland. We're a blue state. And I told her, you know what? You guys might get lazy one day and you're not a blue state anymore, or you know, and guess what? Sure enough, I don't know if it was in 2012 or if it was in 2014, I think it's the governor. It's either the governor or the mayor, like, which always went to a Democrat, went to a Republican.
Wow.
So just to show that people can get very thinking that, oh, we're a blue state, or you know, some of them don't vote, or they're like, why are these people calling us and whatever. Right. And then you get complacent and then it shifts for you.
Yes. You know? Absolutely. Absolutely.
So tell me, what are your thoughts on women empowerment?
Oh, I love it. I just think we live in such a great time for women stepping into their power. And, you know, and I read this great book, Witch. I don't know if you've read it, but it's so good. And it talks about just about how for thousands of years, women have been held down and burned at the stake. And, you know, I mean, my God, when did we get to vote? When was that? When women finally got to vote. I mean, it's not that, in history, it's not that long ago. And so, yeah, I'm all for it. And this is where, with shadow work, we have to be okay. We can't be triggered by hearing independent or bitchy or, you know, loud or all that stuff, because again, it's only bossy. Yeah. Because it's being okay, owning all parts of us. Yeah. So I love working with women to get out of to discover their blind spots, discover what's been keeping them stuck, and to move into full empowerment. I love it. Yeah. Yes,
no, it's so important. And the thing is that, you know, I often say that the things that I see with working with women, or even if we're just looking at regularly, like a woman won't apply for a certain job if she doesn't have all the criteria. The man will have one and he'll apply. Like just so many different things on how, you know, like I was saying, there are certain ways that I see where we question ourselves and we question things, and I don't see men do that, you know?
No. I mean, I think it's partly women are very different from men. Men are, we are just wired differently, but also women have been trained or programmed to be caretakers, to not receive. We give, but we don't receive. And I, you know, a lot of people say, well, that's just being a woman. I don't agree with that. I think that we are programmed that it's uncomfortable to give, or that self-care is selfish. You know, I mean, I hear that from women all the time. It's like, well, I can't love myself because that's being stuck up, that's being conceited.
Conceited.
You know? Yeah. And
Arrogant. Arrogant.
Yeah. Entitled, all those words, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. All these women who put, you know, that is one thing that I have to say that I really love. And I know you have a daughter.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that you women, I mean, I don't have any children yet. You women entrepreneurs that I see who have children, I think you guys are so empowering and inspirational, because I see so many women who don't fulfill their dreams, who don't go for their dreams, who don't do things because they say, oh, well, they use their children as an excuse.
Right. Right. You know, yeah. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No. That's what I wanted to say. You want to say something about that?
I was just going to say what I believe, but then I remember I went to see Mastin Kipp a few weeks ago, and he said it so beautifully, and I had it written down somewhere, but I'm not going to search for it, so I'm probably getting it not exactly right. But he basically said the best gift we can give our children is fulfilling ourselves, living a fulfilled life, because you know, kids learn through example. And so again, when I have a client who's in an unhappy marriage and she's staying for the kids, you're basically telling your kids to settle.
Yes.
You know, and so kids learn through our actions more than our words, you know, through our actions. And my daughter does say all the time that how inspired she is seeing me happy and up in my office helping women, you know, and stuff. So it is a great gift for our children, for sure.
Yeah, no, totally. And you know, thanks for sharing that, because I also like to bring women, because, you know, or I don't know, maybe somebody will be watching this, but sometimes I've had like friends say, oh, Nadjejda, you can say that because you don't have children. So I think when they hear it from somebody who has kids, obviously, I think some people may have something else to be like, oh, but, you know, but really, I think that sometimes when it's coming from somebody that you know who has children, then they're like, wow. Because it's very true. You know, I say that, and I'm a firm believer of that. And the thing is that I know some women entrepreneurs, they actually tell you that they go for their dreams. They're fulfilling it not only for themselves, because they want to be an example for their daughters or their son, you know? Yes. So totally.
Yeah. No, I think to me, it is the best gift you can give, not only yourself, but those around you, is following your passion and coming from a place of empowerment. You know?
Totally.
Yeah.
So what do you stand for in life, and why?
Oh, what do I stand for? I stand for freedom, being yourself, integrity. I know sometimes I think people, oh, those are just the words to throw around, but it's so true. Integrity, authenticity is what I stand for. Like I really do come from the place of treating others how I would treat myself. And I raised my daughter like that as well. So, you know, and in having a business, I think that's so important, you know, and female empowerment. I'm a big believer in that, taking care of our planet, you know, and needs us. You know, sometimes I don't think it needs us as much as we think it does. Our planet's like, you guys, you know, I'm the powerful one. But for our own good, we have to treat our planet better, you know.
Totally. And what do you believe the world needs more of?
Compassion, acceptance. You know,
why would you say that? I mean, I agree. I'm just curious.
Yeah. Well, because, you know, if we get down to it, again, I'm just a big believer in everyone just wants to feel good and whole. And unfortunately, there's so much programmed hatred and comparing and separating people. So the more compassion we can have, and again, I'm a big believer, it has to start with yourself, because if you don't have compassion for yourself, you can't possibly have it for other people, you know? So learning to love and accept yourself, all parts of you, reclaiming all parts of you, you're less likely to judge others. And boy, we just need that big time now. You know, I just, it breaks my heart to see, you know, people judging each other and saying this person's horrible, this,
Yeah.
you know, it's heartbreaking. So to me, compassion, acceptance are number one. Yeah.
No, it's very true. It's very true. And that's one thing I truly also believe, that this time is in some way we're really looking at, like, you know, I don't know, you know, some people talking about shadow before I let you. So I'm going to pretty much have you share with the audience what you do and everything. But, you know, I've heard some people say that in some way, well, for whoever, some people may not agree, but Trump in some way is showing us our shadow side.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly showing us, you know, what.
Well, some of the shadow, like, again, some of the shadow.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, it's you know, it's a real trigger point for me, but it is showing what we don't want to see in society, isn't it? It's showing us that that white supremacists are there. I mean, I wasn't aware that it was this big of a thing. You know, you read about it, but now we know, you know, and the way he treats women.
They came out.
Yes. And him talking to women the way he does has brought that out. So I think it allowed us to see that this exists. So what are we going to do about it? Yeah. So again, it can be a gift if you look at it that way. Like, wow, you know, we have a lot of healing to do. You know.
Yes, I have to say. I mean, one of my friends. I have two friends that I visited this winter. They were not in agreement with me, but I was telling them that in a way, this can be an opportunity for us to heal, for us to transform, you know, everything, you know, that we haven't really healed, that hasn't been transformed. But they were like, oh, you know, and I'm like, well, look at our lives. Sometimes things have to fall apart for it to, I mean, I know people don't like to hear that because, you know, they're like, oh, do we really have to go through this? But look at the Me Too movement, for example, although apparently this woman started this whole thing, but look at what we've been seeing just in this past week on social media.
Oh, yeah. And yes. You know, when someone is able to say, I went through this, we can then go, first of all, oh, thank God it's not just me, you know, that's gone through this, but then we can step up and make change. I mean, I worked with plenty of people like him in the film industry, and in every job, I'm sure women go through that, you know? Mm-hmm. So, you know, this gives us, if we can not, see, this is what's important to me is be angry, but then not let the anger be in the driver's seat, and then look at what opportunities it's giving me. It's giving me a voice. I can say this doesn't work anymore, you know? Yeah. So
no, it's true, because I was even thinking, I mean, not to say, I mean, I think like, you know, rape, all of that stuff is really, like, sexual assault is really, well, it's horrible. Yeah. But I was thinking like the harassment, like you walking down the street and being catcalled and being like, that's totally unacceptable, but society has made it acceptable. And I think that's why, I mean, I don't know if you saw that. I had a friend where I saw her posted that, oh my God, I didn't realize I see so many friends putting Me Too. I don't think she realized that it was sexual harassment as well. And like I was telling somebody, I think some people don't even know what sexual harassment is, because I don't know if there's a woman who can tell me she's never been sexually harassed. Yeah. Even if it's just catcalling, because it's catcalling that's harassment, you know?
It is. So, you know, I always say moms that have sons have a big job cut out for them to teach boys how to treat women, and for us women to teach men how to treat us, you know, and you know, I mean, and to call out those people that do harass us. It's not okay. It is not okay. You know, I mean, yeah, I mean, again, you know, our president, you know, when he's making statements, you know, it's kind of like the person at the top is saying statements. It's just.
I mean, hey, we heard the tape, and he got elected. I mean. I
know. So this is, you know, again, this is a great time to say, and that's why I am so glad that women are able, including myself, to say, I had this experience. It's horrible.
Totally.
No more, you know.
Totally.
Yeah.
So so while this concludes the interview part, Alison, I want you to go ahead and tell my audience about your work, where they can connect with you, and you know.
Absolutely. Yes. So I'm a transformational coach and healer, and I have a business partner, Christine Berg. We have the Intuitive Alignment Method, and what we love to do is work with female entrepreneurs and help you get out of your own way through shadow work. We do healings and we do a bunch of different things. We love to bring in neuroscience, which is transformational coaching with healing. We found that it was kind of like the magic potion that got us to the other side, doing the two together. It's really powerful. So we have something called divine key codes, which are recorded short healings, but incredibly powerful. And so for the group, Christine and I created one for helping release shadow. So that is going to be offered to you for free. And I love these key codes because they're just, I don't know how to describe them other than short, sweet, but powerful.
Oh, good, great.
So it'll just help release that. But yeah, you know, our biggest goal is to just allow women to step into their power. You know, that's really what it is. And to just accept every part of you and create that wholeness, which is to me true freedom.
Totally. Great. So thank you so much for joining me again.
Thank you.
Really great. Everyone, you're going to be, you can, all her info, her key code or keynote?
Key code.
Her key code, everything will be under the video. You'll be able to sign up for it. Her website, her social media pages, everything will be there. If you enjoyed this and you don't want to miss any other episode, maybe you're watching me on my website, or maybe you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts. Well, first of all, if you're on Apple Podcasts, visit my website, www.lovelightcoaching.com, to see Alison's info. And also, if you want to sign up to my email list, so you don't, every Thursday a new episode comes out. It's available, so I share it in your inbox. And once you sign up, you'll be getting these inspirational emails, tips. You'll get to know about my offers on your email. Every Tuesday, I email. And also, once you sign up, you'll instantly get, within a few seconds, once you confirm your subscription, you'll get my gift, which is my 7 questions to help you reconnect with yourself and have an aligned message in your business. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Alison, again.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, you too. Thank you.
Thank you.